Hello, good evening, and welcome to Newsnight. In the next 30 minutes, tonight's security agencies' foul coup plot targeted at the presidency with the aim of destabilizing the country. We have details from a government statement detailing the elaborate plot and the 15-month surveillance leading to the arrest of 3 persons. Also tonight, NDC Ashanti Regional Secretary renders unqualified apology for suggesting Ochehene drank water with animals prior to NDC's assumption of office.
I hereby wish to unreservedly render an unqualified apology to the Ochehene Osagyefo Amoeti of Oepenin, the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council, and indeed all Ghanaians for the said statement.
But is this enough to appease the Ochehene, who is demanding more than a public apology from the leadership of the NDC? We'll hear from national organizer who is dismissing the demands as strange.
Somebody above 18 goes to make a statement. He says the person that has made a statement, then the whole party should be the one to come and sacrifice. Oh, we are just a target. They already were looking for an excuse to deal with us.
And in business, Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry engages Exim Bank for support of business and women, of course, as Continental Free Trade Agreement kicks off in 2020.
I want to hear from you. Send me a WhatsApp 0244340437. My name is Evan Spencer. In our first story, government says a joint security operation has neutralized what it calls an elaborate plot targeted at the presidency with the ultimate aim of destabilizing the country. A statement issued by the Information Ministry says the operation led to the arrest of 3 persons and the retrieval of several arms, explosive devices, and ammunition from locations in Accra and Bawaleshi near Dodowa. Here is a news desk report.
The joint security operation was carried out by personnel drawn from Defense Intelligence, CID, and Bureau of National Investigations (BNI). The statement says the arrest and seizure come after 15 months of surveillance and gathering of evidence on the activities of the prime suspects and others. The persons arrested are Dr. Frederick Yao Makpam and his 2 accomplices, Mr. Exo Kafui, a local weapon manufacturer, and Mr. Bright Alan Debra Ofusu, aka BB or ADC. The suspects, the statement says, had contacted a number of 7 military personnel and talked them into hatching and executing a plot to obtain weapons, take over key installations, and secure funding for the purpose of taking over the reins of government. They also formed a group called Take Action Ghana under the guise of mobilizing the youth for nation building, education, health, and providing shelter to the needy. The statement says the evidence available shows the intent was to build a support base of youth and radicalize them against the political authority in Ghana. This was hatched with the support of US-based Ghanaians Kennedy Amwa and Dr. Albert Sam. They also set a workshop to produce locally made weapons and improvised explosive devices, IEDs, for the operation on the premises of Citadel Hospital. They also secured from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital some essential chemicals to be mixed with gunpowder, stone chippings, surgical needles, and powdered pepper for the operations. It is alleged that they also contracted a worker at the base workshop in Burma camp to supply 10 AK-47 rifles and made an advance payment of 7,000 Ghana cedis. They even tested the locally manufactured weapons close to the Laboma beach here in Accra. The IEDs and all the exhibits are currently in the custody of the BNI. Government has meanwhile asked the public to remain calm as investigations continue.
We can now speak to former colonel in the Ghana Army and security analyst Festus Abuaji. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Newsnight.
Thanks for having me.
The government statement fell short of calling this an attempted coup d'etat. Is that the conclusion you come to when you read the details provided in the statement?
Well, I cannot put words in the mouth of the government. Let me call it a state. For the agencies involved are expected to be professional enough to explain exactly what this group was about. If they fell short of calling calling it an attempted coup to overthrow the government, we cannot, report otherwise that the aim, as indicated in the statement, was to undermine the presidency. And I have expressed elsewhere that I do not exactly understand what targeting the presidency means. My understanding of the statement is that there are about 3 different angles to the case. Let me take the easiest one. The easiest one is the mobilization. The idea of trying to mobilize some youth, sensitize them, create awareness amongst them, if you like, radicalize them. It is not clear from the statement that mobilization was aimed at violently overthrowing the state. The second angle is the acquisition of foreign weapons and the manufacture of local weapons and other weapon parts and ammunition and IEDs and so on and so forth. Now, given the quantities that are mentioned in the statement, I'm not too sure what the number of targets, as mentioned in your statement, that those wielding these pieces of arms and ammunition were going to be able to target. In days gone by, we had only one broadcasting station. That was the GBC. So that was a strategic target for all those who attempted to overthrow the state. Then you had a castle. Or at the time of a champion, you had, if you like, 5BN where he was resident. So wherever the president is resident, his office, these were targets. The broadcasting station was a target. And then, of course, key personalities within the security and government architecture, i.e. the Army Commander, i.e. the CDS, i.e. the commander of the base ammunition depot, and so on and so forth. When you put all of these vital installations together, we can list a lot more. You wonder whether these weapons and ammunition would be sufficient for anybody attempting to overthrow the state, to actually overthrow the state. But the other angle will be criminality. I would have been happier and I would have been satisfied if the evidence had led to the idea that these weapons and ammunition and so on and so forth were being manufactured and acquired for criminal purposes. The mention of treason or the allusion to treason, allusion to subversion of the state, raises the stake. And I have difficulty actually accepting the government explanation that this group intended to target the presidency. Whether it is the presidency as the personality of the president, or presidency, i.e. Flagstaff House or Jubilee House, or presidency as to the institution of the president or presidency, I'm not too sure.
The government calls for calm. Should we be worried?
Well, on the surface of what the evidence, the quantum of the evidence, or the substance of the evidence that they have, of course, given all the the prevalence of other criminal trends and patterns within the state, such a statement is likely to unnerve, the citizenry. So it's in place for the government to call for calm. But the view that I have is indeed this group intended to overthrow the state. I think the government acted prematurely. And I can cite history to support that argument. You see, when Buzia wanted to overthrow the state of Ghana, Buzia received 50,000 British pounds in Togo to do the mobilization and acquire weapons. Now, persons like Ara Ramponsa were acquiring military accoutrement. They had placed the order. So the state should have gone further than the information that it has provided, to have allowed the group to hatch a plan. And the plan would simply mean the concept of operations, and in the concept of operation, the assignment of responsibilities to different individuals to target Flagstaff House or Jubilee House, or to go to broadcasting, or to go to Joy FM, or to ambush the Army Commander or attack, so and so. I don't get a sense of that plan.
Yeah.
I don't get the role, the exact role that these two persons in the state, have they already wired funds to this guy? If the government has the evidence, fine. But if it hasn't got the evidence, in fact, not even long ago, in the 80s, we know that there was such a group that was trying to destabilize the state, overthrow the state, although that state then was ruled by the military or by the revolution. But there was evidence that certain individuals had acquired weapons, and the weapons were sailed from Latin America to Ghana. You see, if you don't allow the plan to develop to such an extent that you have substantive evidence, it becomes a bit premature.
I'm grateful that you join us with your thoughts. That's Colonel Festus Obwaji there helping us appreciate the details as the government had put out tonight, detailing a plot by individuals to destabilize the state, targeting the presidency. Now, the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NDC, Kwame Zu, has rendered an unqualified apology for suggesting the Ochehini Amweti of Oripinyi II and the people of Chebi drank water with animals prior to the NDC's assumption of office. The Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council earlier today gave the leadership of the NDC 3 days to render a public apology to the Ochehini. Now, listen to the State Secretary, Daniel Mafo Foris, speaking during a protest march in Chebi today.
A direct, clear, and unambiguous public apology be rendered by the leadership of the National Democratic Congress to His Royal Majesty the Ochehini and Ochimai. A ritual pacification be performed to appease His Majesty the Ochehini. 3. An apology rendered personally by Mr. Kwame Zu to the Ochehini and the public recantation of the offensive words and specific conduct complained of. 4. Invocation of appropriate disciplinary sanctions of the party against the conduct of Kwame Zu. Should they choose to ignore these pronouncements, may I repeat, should they choose to ignore these pronouncements and demands, Nanano will not accord them any future request for clemency and redemption of their customary transgressions. If they fail to heed, the National Democratic Congress, its ward executives, branch, constituency, regional and national executives will be banned from all official functions under the auspices of the Oforipenis too, and shall be declared persona non grata in all palaces of the over 940 towns, villages, and settlements in Ashim Ebuakwa.
Well, Kwame Zu has issued a statement in which he apologizes unreservedly. Joseph Akable has excerpts of that statement.
Was used in good faith and figuratively to underscore that the Ochehini did not drink different water from his subjects, again flowing from the love he has for his people. It goes on to say that after deeply reflecting over the said statement and the interpretation given it by a section of the public, which interpretation is plausible, I wholeheartedly regret for making such comment. I hereby wish to unreservedly render an unqualified apology to the Ochehini Osagyefo Amweti of Oripinyi, the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council, and indeed all Ghanaians for the said statement. It goes on to say that I revere and have always revered the chieftaincy institution in Ghana, and for that matter hold the Ochehini in high esteem and would not deliberately undermine the chiefly powers of the Ochehini, who has over the years shown great leadership. It ends by saying that my sincere apologies to the Ochehini Osagyefo Amweti of Oripinyi and the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council and all Ghanaians. Signed, Kwame Zu, Ashanti Regional Secretary, NDC.
Well, the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council had also demanded an apology from the leadership of the National Democratic Congress and a ritual pacification. The national organizer of the NDC, Joshua Kamba, has dismissed the additional demands as strange and unfortunate.
Our regional secretary is a responsible young man. He is above 18. He's made a statement and he has apologized to the statement. And it seems to me that the whole NDC being tied to it is quite unfortunate, because this is an individual who had made a statement, and even the statement he made, he didn't make it on an NDC platform. He did not make it on an NDC platform. He made it on a platform that is made of different political parties. The PNC was there, the members of NDC, members of Jataba's political party, Freedom Justice Party or something. It's a couple of parties that were there. It's not NDC. So why are they tying it to only NDC? So I can understand. Actually, I cannot understand why, unless of course we are the target. If not so, I don't see where the NDC comes in the whole thing.
If what they've demanded doesn't happen, you risk being banned from all the community under the power and control of the Ochihene. You cannot approach any palace, and in the coming election year, you definitely will need that. It appears you don't have a choice in this matter.
I will let the party as a body, when we meet, we will take decisions to that. But for me, I think that the gentleman did made the statement on the different platforms, and I'm sure maybe the palace is not aware of that. But the party will look at it. Ever since this happened, the party hasn't met. We'll be meeting on different issues. We have not met yet to discuss that particular issue, and we'll be meeting. And so when we meet, whatever it is, we'll also put it up to the public domain to get to know what our stand will be.
As a national organizer of the party, though, is this a statement that you're prepared to publicly condemn?
I haven't actually. I haven't heard it that well. I've heard a part of the Ochihene Palace and the statement that is coming. I've heard that. I have not personally heard it very well from the other party as to what he actually said. And so I would want to wait till the issue comes up and he's invited, and we'll get tapes to play and see exactly what he did say. But
they also want a ritual pacification.
Why this time around a political party is being punished for somebody conduct?
What do you suspect is the reason why the party itself has been roped in?
I suspect that maybe we've already been a target, and is something that they've been looking for already. Because I don't see, it's something that they've been looking for, it's something that they wanted, and then it didn't happen with one of our members. So let's bring the whole NDC into it. Because you have been practicing journalism in this country for a very long time. There's nowhere, there was a place, even in the Eastern region itself, our former regional chairman did make a statement, is that right? And when he made a statement and the issue went before the Ochihene Palace, it was our regional chairman that was there with, not the NDC as a whole. Is it this time because they have their son as the president, so because of that the NDC must suffer to it? I mean, it's strange. I cannot understand it at all. That by individual statement, the whole party is being dragged into it. I mean, it's strange. It's so strange. It is strange. And I'm surprised. I mean, it's strange. I cannot just understand why an individual, somebody above 18, goes to make a statement. He says, the person that has made a statement, then the whole party should be the one to come and sacrifice. If not, so the party will... Oh.
Going forward.
I'm sure we are just a target. I'm sure that they already were looking for an excuse to deal with that.
Going forward, though, is this something from the internal disciplinary point of view that the party will be looking into with your regional secretary in Ashanti region?
I'm unaware if we have a complaint. I'm unaware that there's a complaint on somebody's attitude. I'm unaware.
You heard Joshua Kamba is a national organizer of the NDC. Daniel Mafo Foriata speaks for the Ochihene, and he joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Mafo, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
First of all, do you accept the apology of the NDC Ashanti Regional Secretary who actually made the comments?
No, I do not accept the apology. We have read the so-called apology from Mr. Kwamizu. You see, a reading of the statement by any reasonable person would disclose that the author of the statement was not sincere and only sought to justify the issue and rebuttal the Ochihene further. Kwamizu in the statement, if you read it carefully, denies that he ever insulted Ochihene. Permit me to read, if you will, portions of Kwame statement. He says, knowing that the Achihene, just like most traditional rulers in Ghana, have deep love for their people and at all times empathize with them, I did not make a statement to the effect that until potable water was provided for the Achihene and his people, they drank unwholesome water. Is that what Kamizu actually said? Have you listened to the audio? Is that what he actually said? If you continue, he said that the statement was used in good faith and figuratively to underscore that the Achihene did not drink different water from his people. You see, clearly, if we just suppose this with audio recording of Kamizu's voice actually said, we don't view this as not an apology, and that is a statement of repentant attempt against my position.
Okay.
Besides, there are clear customary procedures for clemency, for plea for clemency, and redemption of consular transgressions. You cannot stand at a public gathering and insult a person like Achihene. Write a love letter, post it on social media, and call it an apology.
Okay, so this doesn't suffice. Let me quickly just position yourself briefly from here because I'm slightly having a challenge with the line there. If we can get closer to it, you also had you had also demanded an apology from the leadership of the NDC and the ritual sacrifice. We just spoke to the national organizer of the NDC. He says those additional demands are strange, and that you are simply targeting the party because you have one of your sons as president, and that you wanted an excuse to do this all this while.
Well, that's not so true at all. You see, I'm taking from this point. The Congress is not a
Forgive me, I'm still having a challenge with the line. I'm having a challenge with the line. If you can, I don't know if the way you're holding the phone.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear, yes.
Yes. So we must take it from the point that Kwame is not an ordinary member of the National Democratic Congress. He's not an ordinary citizen of Ghana on the bus from Accra to Kumasi. Kwame is the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, the leading opposition party in this country. The NPP, the NDC, of which Kwame belongs, represents certain values and aspirations. You understand? So we're asking the party, do they condemn, do they subscribe to the statement made by Kwame? Because the function to which Kwame made those statements was a political function, meant to inure to the political.
No, the national organizer says it wasn't an NDC platform. This was a neutral event at which other political parties were present.
Kwame was making political statements meant to inure to the benefit of his party. And we are saying that we cannot distinguish the person of Kwame from the position that he holds in the National Democratic Congress.
Do you have an agenda against the NDC?
We don't have an agenda against the NDC. You see, the point that we have to make is this: that most often leaders within the NDC, whenever they have opportunity, want to incite certain hatred against the Filipinos to merely because the Achihene has blood relation of the president of Ghana. Well, we want to make it clear that the Achihene played no role whatsoever in the electoral successes of the MPP or the defeat of the NDC. You understand? Achihene does not depend on the largesse of the Ghanaian state power. You understand? Akim Obuakwa State has had favorable, cordial relationship with all of the presidents that have come and gone over the last 20 years since Osagyefo ascension to the throne. We had a cordial relationship with President Rawlings. Mills was a personal friend of the Osagyefo. Kufuor was a personal friend of the Osagyefo. John Mahama had cordial relationship with Osagyefo. Then Nana came. You understand? But over the last, since 2012 and beyond, we have seen a certain trend. You understand? Within the National Democratic Congress, where the Achin state has become some vehicle for the venting of their screen, and no one even understands what they want.
Well, I'm grateful that you joined us. That is Daniel Mafo Foriata. He speaks for the Ochihene on the matter. He says the state, the Ochiman, rejects the apology issued by Mrs. Zhu, the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NDC, and has taken issue also with the position expressed by the national organizer of the NDC as well. Still listening to Newsstand on Joy 99.7 FM, and to the story that broke sometime last week about the government white paper. The minority in Parliament have taken a position on the government white paper. I'm delighted to say we've just been joined on the telephone line right now by the minority leader in Parliament, Haruna Iddrisu. Mr. Iddrisu, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Evans, thank you very much, and to your esteemed listeners.
Well, what is the position? What's the position of the minority on the matter?
The white paper issued by the president to the Ayawasu West Wagon violent, unprecedented violence, is not only shameful and disappointing, but repugnant to natural justice, and a slap on the constitutional provision which requires the president to be candid and fair in the exercise of discretionary power. We are not only disappointed by the white paper seeking to exonerate one or two of his own, but it clearly demonstrates that the president has no moral authority to fight vigilantism. In our view, the government white paper puts to bed and to rest and a terminal death the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act. I do not see how effective and functional that legislation will be in our country. If it's unable to punish its own, it is always easy and convenient to punish political opponents. We all have collectively agreed that vigilantism, monetization, eroding confidence in the electorate remains the gravest threat to our multi-party constitutional democracy. One would have expected that President Nana Addo Dankwa would not lose the moral right in fighting vigilantism as he promised to a bill that he assented to only a fortnight ago. We are considering other options, looking at the constitutional requirement which allows him to exercise discretionary manner in a manner which is not capricious. But we are terribly, terribly disappointed. If he is free in his own, it clearly demonstrates that he lacks the wit, he lacks political wit to fight vigilantism, and we do not see how functional and operational the new legislation that he himself, in the State of the Nation address to Parliament, even sought to preempt the findings of the Commission and the consequence white paper he has so issued when he so entrusted to the Ghanaian people that first he wanted moral situation. I do not think that he can count on our cooperation in this matter.
And the government's defense is that a white paper, in fact, as the Constitution prescribes, gives him the power to do what exactly he's done, and that they cite many white papers under the previous government NDC in which many positions a commission had posited and recommended had been rejected. They say this is nothing new. It is just a constitutional mandate exercised by the president.
And I have indicated to you, you can look at Article 286, I may not get it appropriate, or 296, where discretionary power is vested on the president. It should be exercised in a manner which is fair. We do not think that he has respected the tenets of the Constitution on this matter. A repeat of the wrongs of the past, that justification must stop from this political administration. He himself, in Parliament, indicated that he was determined to fight vigilantism. How can he fight vigilantism with this attitude of lack of wit, lack of political wit, to punish people known by their conduct, visible to the Ghanaian people? Lawlessness is lawlessness. And lawlessness should not know a political color. So if you want to keep making reference to the past, are we going forward as a country progressively, or we are holding still the progress of our democratic practice?
I'm grateful that you joined us. That's the minority leader, Haruna Iddrisu, there. Let's do some business now. And Charles Ait is here with the latest. Hello, Charles.
Hello, Evan. So coming up in business, Chamber of Commerce engages Exim Bank, other credit agencies to support business women ahead of the Continental Free Trade Agreement area. And government pledges full support for the Public Interest Accountability Committee, PIAC, as it becomes fully autonomous upon commissioning its office building. Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MT, and welcome to a new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials. First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you? And to the details of the stories now, the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry has engaged some banks and credit agencies to equip women in business with the needed capital ahead of the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Agreement area. Even though much has been reported on the country's preparedness towards the free market agreement, President of the Chamber, Dr. Nana Appiagyei Dankwa first fears that Ghanaian women are being left behind. He's been explaining to Joy Business why the need for this crucial initiative.
Seriously, with the securities that are supposed to be provided, then one is going for a loan. Most women do not have that. And so that one alone tells you that women are in some way left behind, and we need to support them from the government side, from private sector side, and from all perspectives to make sure they take advantage and support them as well.
And that's the president of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Nana Appiagyei Dankwa first. Now, the Deputy Minister for Finance, Abena Osei-Asare, says government is enthused about the full autonomy of the Public Interest Accountability Committee, PIAC, after securing it to an office building at East Legon in Accra. Speaking to Joy Business, the Deputy Minister explained that government will be working closely with the institution to improve accountability, especially in the extractive sector.
Two of PIAC's critical issues have been sorted out. One had to do with the budgetary allocations. With the amendments of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act in 2015, now PIAC is being allocated a budget from the revenues that we derive from the oil. We have now been able to get them a permanent accommodation. Gone are the days where they used to perch in people's offices. Now they have their own accommodation. We believe all these things will help them execute their mandates efficiently.
Deputy Minister for Finance, Abena Osei-Asare. And that's it for Business on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, Charles. And that's it for Newsnight on this holiday. Enjoy the rest of your evening. My name is Evan Spencer.